Hello, internet fans, and welcome to 3B Video. I'm your host, Rotten Roger DeMarco, and today we're going to be ranking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Why? Because I want to. There's roadkill all over Texas. Natural order of things. I gotta offer a disclaimer about this list, just like my other franchise ranking list. The way that I rank these is in the amount of fun that I have with each film. So that's not necessarily saying certain films are better than the others or whatever. We're not going to get into a knockdown, drag-out brawl about which one is the best film in the franchise. What we're going to get into is how I personally feel about them and which films I have the most fun with. So the list is not an end-all be-all list. In fact, let me know your list in the comments. Coming in at number 8 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Please, hear me out. I really like this movie, but the older I get, the more things about this movie really bother me. Especially the final 40 minutes or so of the movie with just non-stop screaming. Once you have kids, your house hits a certain decibel and you're like, all right, shh, everybody shut the fuck up. But this movie has tons of fantastic things, including coked up Dennis Hopper fucking wielding chainsaws, chopping up wood, Leatherface humping a chainsaw, and of course Bill Moseley beating the fuck out of LG with a hammer. There's a lot of great things about this, including Tom Savini effects. But I just don't enjoy this film as much as I did when I was a kid, so it's at the bottom of the list. Don't shoot the messenger. I know this is a fan favorite, just I'm not vibing with it this year. So for those of you still watching, coming in at number 7 for me is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. Yeah, my wife really likes this movie. There are things about this movie that I really enjoy. Matthew McConaughey's performance will live on forever. I quote him all the time with his fantastic beep when he jumps out of the window. Guy's got a remote control knee brace. There's actually a pair of titties. Renee Zellweger doesn't look like Renee Zellweger. She doesn't look like Renee Zellweger anymore either. That's kind of weird, full circle. But this is a really stupid, campy Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. And while it's found an audience now, since Scream Factory put out a special edition and all that hoopla, this one is just a movie that I throw on every great once in a while to have a good time with. It doesn't knock me for a loop. It's not amazing or anything like that, but it does have really shitty acting, Matthew McConaughey, Renee Zellweger, titties, and, you know, a weird government plot, alien plot. I'm not sure what the plot is. Doesn't matter, but it's fun. Okay, so coming in at number 6 for me is Leatherface, the new alternate origin story for Leatherface. Don't get me wrong, this movie has a lot of things that I like, but I do refer to this movie as the old bait and switch road movie. It feels like Devil's Rejects. They really wanted to be edgy. Things about this movie that I really like, but I can't let it slide for the bait and switch ending. I don't like it. I like the movie up until the bait and switch ending. It's gory, it's nasty, but it doesn't feel like Leatherface. I can't really get behind this one a great deal, even though I watch it frequently. I just don't really vibe with it that much. But there are things about it that are top notch. I mean, the cast is great. It really does feel like a period piece to me. So I like that about it. And again, the gore. The gore is top notch in this movie. They just jumped the shark when it came to this is supposed to be Leatherface. I don't know if that bothers you as much as it bothers me, but let me know in the comments. So coming in at number 5 for me is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, the other origin story for Leatherface. This one is really gnarly and nasty, but no matter how much they try and dress this film up for me, it just feels like a 2000s film. It doesn't feel like a period piece. It doesn't look like one. Characters don't act like they're from that time period. And of course, probably my biggest hang up with the Michael Bay Platinum Dunes reboots is Andrew Bynarski. Very imposing, very terrifying Leatherface, yes. But I'm not very fond of him as a person, so that kind of taints how I feel about these movies because I like everything going on around it. I just don't really like that guy. It's tricky. The reasons that I like this movie, we get a really cool origin story for him, you know, and he actually feels like Leatherface. We get to kind of see how this whole thing started. We get some really nasty gore. We get actual character development, even if it does feel kind of fast-paced and some of it's a little shoehorned. What else can you say about a reboot prequel for Texas Chainsaw Massacre? It's fun. It's just kind of right in the middle of the road for me when it comes to this franchise. Which means that coming in at number 4 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Same sort of deal. It's done very well. It looks nice. It sounds nice. The cast is good. The gore is fantastic. This was like height of remake awesomeness. But as the years have gone on, I just tend to watch it a little bit less. But I do like that whole family aspect. This movie got that right of having all these diverse characters in the family. And this does kind of expand the Texas Chainsaw Massacre universe a little bit and give us peeks into all of these different characters, and I like that about it. The older I get, I just don't watch it nearly as much. So coming in at number 3 for me is Texas Chainsaw 3D. Hey, do your thing, cuz this movie defies all logic. This movie is stupid to the core. This movie it just completely ignores timelines, fucks up a lot of things, but it is 100% pure popcorn dumbness. And that's what's so awesome about it. You get the Sawyer clan back, you get to see Gunnar Hansen again, you get Bill Moseley playing Drayton Sawyer. They rebuilt the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. The opening to this film is fucking phenomenal. And it sort of takes a little bit of a nosedive, but Dan Yeager is amazing as Leatherface. He's big, he's scary. There's a lot of fun things in this movie that are callbacks to the original, but we also get a little bit of updated technology, you know, like people Skyping. The cops are Skyping as they go through the house and look for evidence and stuff like that. So it's more modern, and some of the deaths are obviously cheaper CGI to kind of splatter the screen with that After Effects to give you that 3D vibe. And I'm not defending this movie by any means. This movie is almost a dumpster fire. This movie is pretty rough, but man, every time I watch it, I'm like, this is just getting more and more fun. Is it perfect? No, but it is stupid fun, and that's the kind of stuff that I gravitate towards, is just really fun, dumb movies. This one checks off all the marks, except we don't get any titties. That's a demerit. So coming in at number 2 for me is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Yeah, I mean, it had to be up there, right? Just like with all these other franchises, it's borderline a perfect film. This movie single-handedly skyrocketed the careers of so many people wanting to make these indie horror films, shoestring budget horror films with attitude, guts, grit, nastiness, by any means necessary filmmaking. This movie's extremely quotable. Come on, Franklin. It's gonna be a fun trip. Come on, Franklin. I couldn't do this list without putting this film towards the very top because, I mean, this movie is just so much fun. And if I have any more fun today, I don't think I'm gonna be able to take it. I mean, this movie was one of my first loves when it comes to horror films. I used to sit, stare at this VHS cover, and try to draw it over and over and over again. And I love that this movie sort of carried all this weight. My parents were so apprehensive about letting me see it because they remembered seeing it in the drive-ins. And they remembered, oh my God, people get chainsawed up. The hook goes through this girl's back. There's blood everywhere. He's smacking people with mallets, and there's just gore and nastiness all over the place. And my parents were like, no, no, no. And then when I finally saw it, I'm like, none of that stuff is in the movie. This is a prime example of what can be done without money, what can be done to trick the audience. It's so close to being a perfect film. And the horror genre owes so much to Tobe Hooper and this film. And what's different about this list compared to the other franchise rankings is this original film is extremely fun for me. Every time I watch this movie, I'm unnerved, I laugh, I get bothered. It's just an intense, fun popcorn ride the whole way through, and I love everything about it. So that's why it's my number 2 Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. So that means that my number 1 Texas Chainsaw Massacre film is Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Now, the internet is very unkind to this movie, and I need you guys to understand, This movie is so much fun. I saw this movie at a very early age. It hit at the perfect time, at the height of my wrestling fandom, at the height of my horror movie obsession. It has recognizable faces in it. From the minute I started the movie, I was like, hey, that's William Butler from Night of the Living Dead 1990 and Friday the 13th Part 7 and Ghoulies 2. And I just fell in love with this movie. This movie has so much attitude and so much like metal vibe to it, you know? I mean, it's got this killer soundtrack. You've got R.A. Mihailoff as the most intimidating Leatherface that there has ever been, bar none. Dude is massive. He's got his Stone Cold Steve Austin knee brace. I said Stone Cold Steve Austin knee brace. I said Stone Cold Steve Austin knee brace. What? This movie is so fucking fun and extremely quotable. You have characters like Tex, which is Viggo Mortensen, and you have Alfredo, who 100% steals the show in this movie. Is it soup yet? I mean, he's so fucking quotable. Can you love a cannibal maid? I don't know. I do. I like this guy a lot. Tom Everett is just this perfect character actor. He chews the scenery so much in this movie. He's hilarious. He's scary. He's violent. Again, he's extremely quotable. Plus, you have Ken Foree, Kate Hodge. I mean, this movie is awesome, and the unrated cut is disgusting. K&B did the effects. I can't put into words how much I love this movie. This is an any time of the day movie for me. I throw this movie on a lot. I giggle at this movie. Don't you tell me what I should do, motherfucker. Bone Patrol for stupid fuckface. Little Alfredo, he cleans and he does housework. So I understand that people don't really vibe with this movie because there's a desert, there's a swamp. It doesn't really feel like Texas. And to those people, I say, hey baby, I only got one thing to say to you. I do not like the tone of your voice. I don't give a fuck. This movie is just too fucking good. I know that a lot of people really don't vibe with it because it doesn't hold a candle to the original Texas Chainsaw. It's not as zany as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And it didn't go completely off the rails like Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation. But for me, for my money, in 3B video, if I want to have a good time and just veg out and quote a movie and watch people get chainsawed the fuck up, I'm watching Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I don't need to sway you, obviously. Your list is your list and my list is my list, but let me know how you feel about my ranking. Let me know if it's blasphemous. Let me know if you dig it. And let me know if you dig the popcorn stuff like us at 3B Video. But I suppose I should probably get going because after all, there's a lot of movies out there. Somebody's got to watch them. So why not me, right?